Yeah, I can't hear anything either.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on.
Yes, no, we are. We're there.
Jesus, that's the power of technology. Well, thank you very much for joining us all. I'll do a quick introduction and then we'll get going, I guess. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Startup Growth Q&A, and we do this every Wednesday from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time, where we seek to help startups like yourselves with whatever questions you may have on growing your business. But if you're a startup in the room and you've got any questions for us in terms of how to go about growing your business, and that could be on anything from your, let's say, user acquisition, client acquisition, partner acquisition, vendor acquisition, maybe some growth hacks, go to market, or just generic sales, marketing, advertising, branding, and all that jazz. This is the place to be. We'll be here for the next 57 minutes. I've got 4 brilliant growth experts here with us, and they're willing to take any questions you may have for us today. So please try and get them ready now. Don't leave them for last second. And for those of you that are tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, please be aware that unfortunately we're unable to monitor your questions there. Therefore, you would have to join us live here on LinkedIn. You can do that 2 ways. Either you can go to startuptoscaleup.club, which is our website there, and there you'll be able to find today's session, which is Startup Growth Q&A 125. Or you can, of course, just jump onto LinkedIn, search for Startup to Scale Up Club, and the last post there, it's today's Q&A. On the other hand, if your questions today are not on growth, please save them for the other events we run. So on Mondays, it's talent. On Tuesdays, product and tech. Today, on Wednesdays, as you can see, it's growth. And on Thursdays, it's fundraising. And they're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. Sorry, and you can RSVP to any of them via our website, startuptoscaleup.club. Now, some quick introductions. My name's Anton Cole. I'm an Albanian in London, working with startups by becoming their talent partner. I do some growth advisory as well. And lately, I've been helping some angels and family offices with their due diligence and assessments. I guess we can go from Barbara to Volker, Jagdeep, and then Nadeem, please. There's a mic icon, Barbara, at the bottom of your screen on the right that you would need to click. Perfect.
Yeah, hi everyone. I am Barbara Anthony Okafor. It's a pleasure to be here today. This is my second time on the Startup Growth Q&A. I've spent the last 10 plus years helping startups and high growth companies scale through strategic partnerships, innovating sales strategies, and building sustainable growth models. My background spans working with SaaS platforms, fintechs, and digital businesses, where I've led teams to drive revenue, establish impactful collaborations, and unlock new markets globally, while also mirroring as an angel investor.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Barbara. Volker?
Yeah, hello everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. So I'm a fractional sales executive and now predominantly work as a sales coach, sales consultant, executive coach, and advisor to start and scale ups, predominantly in the tech sector, SaaS businesses and data businesses.
Thank you very much, Volker.
Hi, Jagdeep Bamber. I'm based in the UK and worked in the various industries across multiple sectors, geographies, and verticals. In terms of what I do, primarily with the technical background, but I run a few companies in the UK, focused on consultancy, advisory, and working with companies of different sizes, and also have a publishing house. Currently working as a fractional CTO across various organizations, but also as an advisor and a mentor. So that's myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jagdeep. We can't hear Nadine. Nadine, would you like to try and leave the so close the window and then come back straight in? Hopefully that might work. Right, we're just going to wait for Nadine quickly. As far as the others are concerned, oh, here we go. Go ahead, Nadine.
Hi everyone, I'm Nadine. I am a marketing consultant working for global brands. I also help startups and scale-ups grow their business. I'm a go-to-market specialist, mentor, advisor, and my special interest is diversity in startups and investments. Thanks for having me.
Anton, are you speaking or something?
Oh, it's me and my fat thumbs, Barbara. I thought I'd pressed the mic icon, but I guess I haven't. So, perhaps the panel might want to give us some ideas in terms of your biggest do's and don'ts when it comes to early stage growth. And by the way, don't worry about feeling that you might repeat stuff you've said in the past, because unfortunately, founders, we tend to make the same mistakes all over again. So, just what would you say, maybe one or two each, one or two pro and one or two con, sort of do and don't really, in terms of your early stage growth? So perhaps we can start with Nadine, then Jagdeep, then Volker, then Barbara.
Great, thanks Anton. Can you hear me okay, everyone? Okay, good, I hope so. Good. Okay, so I would say my biggest do is ensure that what you're creating there's a place in the market for it. We often create products based on what we have seen ourselves personally, but there is a need to ensure that when you do create something and spend a lot of time on it, that there is an actual market, there is an audience, you have done your market research to ensure that they would want to actually purchase your product, and it's not just a pain point that can be covered by another product. So yeah, first do is ensure that you have a strong market fit. I'll go for a second do just to keep it positive. When you are going to market, because that's something I work on constantly, test and learn. You know, it's very easy to look at someone else or another business that you see as working exceptionally well and take that as a blueprint and just copy it exactly. That might not necessarily work for you. So I would say try a strategy, let it run for at least 2 weeks to 3 months, see how that goes. And then if you find it's not working, you can pivot. So maybe it turns into a don't as well. Don't stick with a strategy that isn't working because you've seen that it works for someone else. So yeah, test and learn is definitely my advice.
Thank you very much, Nadine. You'll need to unmute. There's a mic icon at the bottom of your screen, Jagdeep. If not, then yep, go ahead.
Sure. Hi. Yeah, I think you're just breaking up for me. Apologies for that. In terms of, I would say a few don'ts is don't ignore market research. It's very important to make sure that you are on top of this and kind of what I would call focused on in a tunnel vision kind of approach. So always be aware of your ecosystem in terms of what's happening in the market, the changes, etc. And if you do need to pivot occasionally, then strategically make sure you do. I would say also another don't, which is often neglected, is don't neglect your documentation. So always maintain your documentation is all up to date and it reflects the current status, and you're always addressing what's actually happening in the organization and also where you're heading as well. So typically, I would say invest in a data room, which could be as simple as a drive in a kind of some form of storage, but it's very important to have that as well. In terms of a do, is always make sure that any decisions you do make have backing. In other words, the data driven, and you're not very subjective or too subjective, because there is a tendency to do that. So any decisions always have some data to back you up, do your research. And I would say the last one which I can think of, which is a do, is also be on top of your legal and compliance, legislative, regulatory aspects as well, depending on which sector you're in. Very important, and make sure you've got all the contracts, paperwork, etc. in place, especially when it comes to things like employees, third parties, vendor suppliers that you're working with, and your supply chain. it becomes increasingly important, especially as you're growing, and make sure you have a good process in terms of onboarding as well.
Thank you very much, 𝗦𝘁.
I think that was my name. You're still breaking up there, Anton, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's fine. I got the first bit of my name. Yeah. So in terms of what you should look out for as a startup, right? I mean, as Jagdeep said, right? Data is always important, particularly if you look at sales, right? So be aware in terms of what are your goals, right? What are your figures you want to achieve, and how can you get there? So how can you build the pipeline? Is the pipeline big enough? So the whole bit I would consider revenue operations. And then refine them as you go along, because startups, at least in my experience, you probably pivot 2 or 3 times or more throughout your lifetime. So set the original goals, see how you can get there, see when you pivot, what's the figures, are they all stacking up, can you actually achieve those goals? And then if I say start selling, so from a sales perspective, start selling, start talking to your customers, get a product market fit, and move forward.
Thank you very much, Volker. Barbara.
Okay, my turn. Great add-ons, do's and don'ts from the panel so far. For my own 2 cents, I will say for do's, build a strong narrative, craft a compelling story for your startup that resonates with customers, investors, and team members. A clear and inspiring mission helps attract the right talent and partners all around. The second do will be leveraging your network. Early stage startups thrive on connections. Focus on the 6 degrees of separation. Seek mentors, advisors, and partnerships to accelerate growth and avoid costly mistakes. For don'ts, I would say, 1, don't neglect team morale. In the rush to grow, it's easy to overlook the well-being of your team, especially as things are changing in the rush and the winding down of the year. Burnout and poor morale has been like the biggest crippling effect, and can cripple even the most promising startups. So that's something to be very aware of. Secondly, don't ignore legal and compliance basics. Many startups delay addressing legal structure, contracts, and compliance where necessary, which can lead to costly issues later. So get these things in place as early as possible. Those are my 2 do's and don'ts.
That is brilliant. Thank you very much, Barbara. Rightio, everybody. We now have only 45 minutes to go, so we've got time for a few questions. This is Startup Growth Q&A. We're here to help founders with whatever questions you may have on growing your business. Those questions could be on anything from user to vendor, partner, client acquisition, sales, marketing, advertising, branding, growth hacks, go-to-market, and all that jazz. There are no right or wrong questions, and there's no need to be shy. It's a learning curve for us all. The idea is quite simple. If you're a startup in the room and you've got any questions for us, all you have to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage. You introduce yourself, and then fire away with your question. There are no right or wrong questions, and there's no need to be shy. It's a learning curve for us all. Now, if you've got questions on other matters, please save them for the other rooms, the other events we run. Mondays it's talent, Tuesdays it's product and tech, Wednesdays it's growth, and Thursdays it's fundraising. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time, and you can RSVP to any of them via startuptoscaleup.club. On the other hand, if you're tuning in now via YouTube or Facebook, please be aware that we're unable to monitor your questions there. Therefore, we'd need you to hop over to LinkedIn, and you can do that either by going to our site, startuptoscaleup.club, and go on to join Startup Growth Q&A 125, which is today's session, or just go on to LinkedIn and search for Startup to Scale Up Club, and the last post there, it's today's event. Now, whilst we're waiting for some people to get the courage to come up, I've sent a message in our group message with the panelists, and it's a question we've received there. It's quite a mouthful, so if you want to have a look there, team, that would be great. This is for a fintech in Bristol. They're at seed stage, and the problem they have is that well, not the problem. What they're trying to solve, really, is that it's a hormone tracking app designed to help women understand their cycles better and improve health outcomes. The challenge they have is retaining users past the initial download, past the initial download has proven difficult. So that's what's proven difficult, to retain users past initial download. We launched our hormone tracking app for women, but after a promising start, retention rates have plummeted. Users seem to engage for only a short time. What specific features or community building strategies can we implement to enhance long-term engagement? Should we consider personalized insights or community forums within the app to foster a sense of belonging amongst users? Any thoughts on this, team? Who wants to go first? Barbara, do you want to start first, and then we go to Nadine, and then Jagdeep, and then Volker, please?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind. Okay, so for the products mentioned here, the Femtech Hormone Tracking app, there are a few targeted strategies and features to enhance long-term user engagements. I'll share some, and I know that the rest of the panel will add on. For personalized insights, I will say they should also look at actionable recommendations, offer personalized actionable insights based on user track data, e.g. diet tips, stress management, or exercise recommendations tailored to hormonal phases. They could also add some gamification elements, some challenges and rewards, as those are like little small challenges that would actually help people, that would incentivize people with badges and help them unlock better health tips, and also encourage streaking. That's something that seems to be working on most social media platforms, Snapchat, TikTok, and whatnot. Encourage consistent logging in by highlighting streaks and rewarding users for maintaining them. Dynamic educational content is another element I think they should look into us. So share daily content updates, provide bit-sized educational content about hormone cycles and wellness tips within the app, which might also be relevant to their current cycle phase, like e.g. the app called Flow, which is similar to the product described here. Also, partnerships and integration, wearable integrations, like integrating like Apple Watch or other fitness smartwatches to provide holistic health insights will be like a great way to get people to use it more and engage better with it. You can also collaborate with influencers. Influencers marketing is one of my great suits. Partner with health influencers to boost credibility and foster a community outside the app, and also create like a regular feedback loop with surveys and A and B testing here and there.
Okay, I'll jump in.
Yes, please, Nadine.
Okay, so I think it's really good to understand what the purpose is of the app exactly. You know, Femtech's wide, but when it comes to apps, I think there's a misconception that everybody needs an app. It's very costly and expensive, and then people download, but there's a high rate of drop off that happens almost immediately. So it's really about thinking how to keep your app sticky. I know there's been some things I would have mentioned, which is good tips just now about gamification. Ensure it becomes fun and easy to interact with the app, and it's not just another place where you're finding the same content that you can find online. What's the differentiation point? There's some great things that you can do which keeps people staying past the initial free period or initial period. So, you know, what can you access in the first 7 days versus what you can access in days 8 to 30? You know, are there groups that you're now able to join, VIP status, exclusive things that you can have access to because you've stayed on the app? Can you deepen the features? Can you make them make the users able to say what they feel is important and information they want to know, and therefore to help you build an app which is more focused on their needs and less about what you think they need? You know, and then beyond month 1, I think it's really about going to premium. So sometimes it's a case of pay to play, so you pay to stay on the app, right? Or is it a case that you need them to engage, provide information, data, things that you can then leverage to monetize your business in a different way, which means that users don't feel like it's another thing they're paying for to you know, just to stay with the app. But I definitely think it's important to think about what the users needs overall, and ensure that they are the features on the app. But also don't, people drop off apps all the time. And it's important to keep doing that brand awareness and keep filling up the top of the funnel. So even if people are dropping off, you can reduce that drop off by increasing more people at the top. Good luck with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. Yes, Jagdeep.
Yeah, so I'm actually working with a femtech outfit at the moment, getting them to market. So I think it's not unusual compared to other, startups I've worked with. That it does happen. What I'd look at is also getting in experts as well in terms of doing blogs or doing podcasts, etc. You can get to a point where you're getting content over and above the app. As mentioned earlier, personalization is very important. I would consider that, but not at the expense of creating an overly complicated app as well. It's always good to have look at as you evolve your community. The question is, what does that community give you? What is the result of creating that community as well? So there has to be some outcomes. Is it the fact that you can increase the amount of knowledge in the app? Is it the fact that you're catering towards particular needs and desires without knowing what details you actually of the features in the app itself? It's very difficult to kind of explain, for example, what kind of experts you may have coming in there to provide advice, guidance, etc. So what I would look at is also maybe weekly or every few days have some live videos or podcasts, etc. that supplement the app as well. So that essentially increases the levels of engagement. And also look at your social media strategy, because you need to drive numbers and people towards your app as well. So one thing worth considering also is publish a roadmap or features that are up and coming, which users may be interested in. Put some forms out there, feedback, or otherwise in-app notifications to try and get, or at least garner, why people aren't engaging the way they are. Ask them for the insights, what they'd like to have. Are there any features that users are particularly interested in? So typically think of yourself as a user of the app and work from it that way in terms of what would you like somebody asking you, and the feedback and the engagement, and that's probably going to help you as well. So over and above what's been said already, those would be the kind of keywords I can think of. But the main thing is you do need to keep regular engagement and updates, and it has to be fresh content that's being released. I would also look at running incentives around competitions, rewards, even rewards for example, feedback forms. You might get something, or a voucher or some kind of points. I'm not sure if you've got gamification in there, but if you do, then worth considering gamifying certain elements as well.
Thank you very much, Jagdeep. Last but not least, Volker, would you like to add anything? Or I remember B2C isn't really your keen interest.
No, I'm not that much B2C, but yeah, I think most of the things have already been said, right? I mean, apps, generally speaking, and I'm working with people on B2B apps as well, right? It's about stickiness. It's about creating that value, creating that content, and I think that has all been said, right? Having this communication, offering something new, I should say, every single day, so people really, use the app. And yeah, it comes down to a volume game, right? But I think that's more of a summary than it is anything new.
No, I hear. Thank you very much to all four of you. The only thing, and I think Nadine touched a little bit on this, the only thing I could think of, since you're saying that you are getting people to download it, but then it kind of sticks there, is that pay to play. If you can give them a reason to not want to waste their money and actually make use of the app, then you might actually get something out of it. It will be slow initially, because when you ask people to pay, then ideally you may have less people downloading the app, but those that do download it will actually be more likely to use it. So maybe find a way to do that. But the panel here have mentioned some brilliant things in terms of engagement and gamification, etc. Although this is more of an issue if you actually need to get people on there in the first place, but this could also work for you. And I'm not sure if Barbara touched on this or not, but I think one of the ladies did. And I'm a huge fan of partnerships. So if you can go to somebody who's already got your potential clients locked onto whatever they offer to them, but they haven't got what you've built with your app, then that might be a very good way, because you already know these are people that would want and need and pay money and whatever the shebang there to use such products, and therefore they may want to use yours. And the thing is, to get to those people, if you find a partner that is willing to share that with you and add value to their clientele, then it means you're not going to need to spend a ton of money to get to those people, because they're already there. That's the only thing I'd like to add. Right, quick reset of the room. We've got only 33 minutes to go. This is Startup Growth Q&A. We're doing this to help startups with whatever questions you may have in order to get your business to the next stage, i.e. grow the business. We believe that sales cures everything. And the idea is that we're going to try and help you here with whatever questions you may have on user, vendor, partner, client acquisition, growth hacks, go-to-marketing, sales, marketing, advertising, branding, and all that jazz. You see, unfortunately, over 90% of startups fail. And the top 3 reasons for that are 1, market fit, 2, running out of money, and 3, not having the right people. But guess what? When it comes down to it, there's only one thing that separates the failures from the ones that keep going. It's those who actually manage to sell enough of whatever product or service they have to stay afloat or make a profit and so on. So if you can't do that, there isn't much else you can do. Hopefully, we'll be able to remove some of those barriers and help you get unstuck today. Now, for those of you that are tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, please be aware that unfortunately, we're unable to monitor your questions. So you'll need to join us here live on LinkedIn. You can either come onto LinkedIn and search for Startup to Scale Up Club. The last post there, it's today's session. You can go to our website, startuptoscaleup.club, and look for today's session, which is Startup Growth Q&A 125. So that's how many we've had so far. We've actually had over 260,000 people that have joined us to date. We've moved from Clubhouse to LinkedIn. We're now on LinkedIn, and we need all the help we can get to spread the word. So if you'd like to share this or tag somebody you know in the comments of this event, that would be greatly appreciated. But obviously, none of this would have happened without people like Barbara, Nadine, Jagdeep, and Volker. So please show them your love as well. Now, if your questions today are not on growth, please save them for the other events we run. Monday's talent, Tuesday's product and tech, Wednesday's growth, and Thursday's fundraising. And they're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. And you can RSVP to any of them via our site, startuptoscaleup.club. Now, whilst we're waiting for some people to get the bottle to come up on stage, I've sent another 2 questions to my brilliant panelists in our group chat, if you'd like to have a look at them. So this next one came a while ago. It's an agri-tech in Edinburgh. They're pre-seed. What they're trying to do, it's a tech platform connecting farmers with sustainable agriculture resources. And she's put in brackets, products and services. The challenge they're having is encouraging farmers to adopt new technologies and practices. And her question is, our platform connects farmers with sustainable agricultural resources, but encouraging adoption of new tech is a challenge. What approaches can we take to effectively demonstrate the benefits of our platform? Should we offer pilot programs that showcases success stories, or create community forums where farmers can share experience and best practice, or some kind of peer-to-peer learning? Let's start from the top now. We'll start with Volker, Jagdeep, Nadine, and Barbara. Volker.
Yeah, so that is the agriculture one. So I'm trying to recap here. Again, it's new technologies and new practices, right? And it's a platform. We just talked about apps. Again, how do you make a platform sticky? How do you make an app sticky? I think it's literally the same, right? You have to offer value. I mean, particularly with SaaS platforms, and that's where I spent most of my career in. You know, you need to make them easy to use, and if I say almost like your go-to, website in the morning, as I like to say it. So if you remember, or some of you might remember the older ones, people used to go to Yahoo, as soon as they went to the office in the morning, they opened up a website, they went to Yahoo, they got their news there for finance and gossip and, politics, etc. And the platform almost needs to be exactly the same. You want people to, as I say, almost open it up first thing in the morning, log in, and then check, and find the information thereafter. And that's how you make it really sticky. So this was for farmers, and I'm just recapping here. Benefits, yeah. How do you demonstrate the benefits? Show what you offer. Show how what you offer in the platform adds value to their day-to-day business. And I think that's always the challenge. And then have it, if I say, have it user-friendly. So I saw a platform actually last week from a startup, and I said, the user interface still needs to be improved. And they said, yeah, it's not 100% loaded, it's not there, it's not here. Make it look nice from the outset. It doesn't have to be perfect, but make it look nice, make it appealing, and provide information that are actually, relevant for those farmers on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you very much, Volker. Jagdeep.
Yeah, I've kind of been involved in this space for the last few years. So I think without knowing the target demographic and the geography, it's very difficult to provide an answer, because
she's based in Edinburgh, but she hasn't quite mentioned targets.
Yeah, because I know a few startups, agri-tech startups based in Europe and the UK, but their target geographies are like Far East, Asia, Africa, etc. So I think it would depend on where the farmers are and what kind of farmers you're actually trying to target. I think based upon that, ultimately, it's very difficult to give you a precise answer about how you could do this. But I think generically, look at introducing case studies would be important. Explaining the benefits to the users is also very important. I think if you've done your user research, I'm assuming understand pain points of the farmers and what pain points you're trying to alleviate as a result of your ecosystem. So I think benefit realization is very important. Ultimately, money talks. So the question would be, what is there, if any, commercial benefits to farmers? And that would be kind of useful. Either do it via video or social media, or create like mini episodes or a series of what you could showcase about the app and why it's so important, or why it's beneficial. And why it adds value to the ecosystem. But I think generically, those would be the ones I'm thinking about, without knowing the full detail about the types of farmers, demographics, geographies, age groups, what kind of commodities and assets you're dealing with, as well as when it comes to farming.
I hear you, so get specific. Thank you, Jagdeep. Nadine?
Right. This is one of those times where someone asks a question and provides the answer. So it's a case of do what you said in the question, right? If you're asking someone to change the way they behave, then we need to show them how it's going to work. So yes to a pilot program. People need to understand, if they're going to change their mornings, their structure of their days, that it's actually going to make a difference. What are the cost savings? Can you give an example if it's for a small farm, a large farm, and an enterprise size farm, for lack of better term, right? So that we can now understand, if I'm a farmer and I only have a tiny farm, and you're only giving a demonstration of a giant farm that supplies, monopoly of supermarkets, I'm going to be disengaged, because I'm going to think that's nothing to do with me. But if you're showing a small farm that actually just farmers markets in rural communities, as well as a giant one that supplies to Asda or Tesco's, now I feel like that's something that could be beneficial to me. There's a lot going on with farmers right now, globally and in the UK. So any way that there can be an increase in sustainability, so therefore what you're doing actually is good for the environment, actually brings in more revenue for you and increases your client base, is brilliant. So please show them how to do it, and really in a step-by-step approach as well. So, for week 1, these are the simple things that you can do in order to begin your sustainability journey. Once you've mastered that, week 2, now you move on to XXX. And really that step-by-step will help people feel like it's less disruptive and daunting, as something new for them, and actually something that's completely manageable. There's another way to demonstrate your pilot program, and I don't know which way you plan to do it, but if you have run this idea, and I assume you have because it's business, and someone has successfully taken your steps and delivered improvements to their farm, showcase them, create them, make them become mentors, do some peer-to-peer learning so it comes away from we're a business trying to make money, trying to make you adopt it. So here's somebody that's done it and it's worked for them. Now you can learn from them and reward them for doing that. So what do they get for becoming a mentor? And then on and on. So what you actually create is a structure where the people that are using your app are then reinforcing that your not necessarily your app, sorry, your structure, your sustainability structure works, and they're so engaged in it that they want to teach more people how to do it. So really create an ecosystem, do all the things that you said in the question. Yeah. And I think you're going to be really successful. So good luck.
Thank you, Nadine. Last but not least, Barbara.
Okay, thank you. Nadine pretty much has offered some insight. The other thing that I have to add here is around I'll use similar examples as something I did with Thrive Agric, which pretty much has like similar business model or is in the same space as this company that you just mentioned. So pilot programs are important. Pilot programs are important, like you just mentioned. Also, the other part that I think that is important that should be added with is the part as regards showing a great return on investment or ROI on how these pilot programs work, and also incentivize users or early adapters to be able to use this. So make true also inculcate case studies into this where possible. Also, another thing I would also suggest is community forum for peer engagement is also important. So that way, farmers trust advice from their peers more than from external sources. So being able to create an online community forum or integrate it into your platform, which allows farmers to share experiences, ask questions, and provide feedback, facilitate discussions and topics like sustainable practices, ROI on technology, and local farming challenges. Also, target training and education. Farmers need to clearly understand the how and why behind new technologies. So being able to host workshops, webinars, and live demonstrations in collaboration with local agricultural extension office would be a great way to do this. Also, partnerships, very important. Collaborations lend credibility and lower the barrier to adoption. So being able to partner with agricultural cooperatives, government agencies, and sustainability-focused organizations to endorse and promote your platform will be very important here. Provide financial incentives such as discounts, referral bonus, or subsidies for early adopters. Also highlight government or institutional programs aligned with sustainability that can support the use of your platform. Then localized and data-driven marketing is also important. So personalizing outreach based on regional farming practices ensures relevance and that you're also meeting the right demographic, whatever they might be here. So use data to identify the most common pain points in your target markets. Is it water usage? Is it soil health? Is it equipment financing? Different things, and position your platform as a solution. Share regional specific success stories and benefits to make the platform relatable. Engage with farmers directly at local fairs, markets, or community events to build trust and awareness. At the same time, continue feedback loop. Keep reiterating based on user input and ensure that the platform stays aligned with the farmers' needs where possible. Regularly collect feedback from farmers through surveys and community discussions. Implement suggested improvements and communicate them transparently to users. Last but not the least, show farmers how their input changes the platform to foster a sense of ownership and loyalty. So far, by combining these approaches, your platform can effectively demonstrate value, address skepticism, and foster a supportive community that drives adoption of sustainable agricultural technologies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Rightio, we now have 19 minutes to go. This is a Startup Growth Q&A. We're doing this to help startups with whatever questions you may have on growing your business. And just before we go to 𝗏&𝗿, a quick reset of this conversation. You can ask us any questions for the next 19 minutes just branding, advertising, or go-to-market strategies, anything within that sphere, this is the place to do it. We on growth today, save them for the other conversations we host on Mondays. It's talent, Tuesdays product and tech, Wednesdays growth, and Thursdays fundraising. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time, and you can RSVP via startuptoscaleup.club. That's where all our schedules are. On the other hand, if you're tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, please be aware that we're unable to monitor your questions there, so you would need to come and join us here live on LinkedIn, and all you need to do is just search for Startup to Scale Up Club on LinkedIn, and the last post there, it's today's Q&A, or you can just go to our website, startuptoscaleup.club, and click join under Startup Growth Q&A 125. Nevertheless, without further ado, welcome back to our stage, Dawid. Please introduce yourself and fire away with whatever question you have for us today.
Thank you, Anton. Yeah, I'm a founder of a startup, and I don't actually have a question today, but I feel that I can contribute to your community because growth is fueled by sales, and sales is something I know a bit about. So the best thing you can do to grow sales is use leverage. Any kind of leverage will do, because as a startup, you're not bound by internal policies, politics, or well-established processes. So to help other founders understand, I can give examples like of such leverage, like use exclusive access to a sales channel. You can use recognition borrowed from a big brand. You can partner with a company that can cross-sell or upsell your product on top of theirs, or use even direct engagement of a CEO, a founder, in the sales process, because that also is a leverage. There's many more, and I believe today's experts would be willing to share theirs. So I'm all ears. I'm a founder myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Dawid. Rightio, team. I've sent another message in the group. This is, where is it? Sustainability Tech. They're based in Norwich. It's 3 founders. They're at seed stage, and they've got a platform helping businesses track and reduce their carbon emissions. The challenge they have is encouraging companies to take action amidst other priorities. And what they ask in here is, our platform helps businesses track carbon emissions, but encouraging them to prioritize this has been tough. What marketing strategies can we use to emphasize the importance of carbon reduction? Should we develop case studies that showcase successful implementations, or create engaging content that outlines the benefits of sustainability? I think in theory, this is quite easy. But often, as I've seen, is that there are many people who care about climate and care about the planet, but when it comes to them putting their hands in their pockets to pay money for that, things start to change. Anyway, let's hear from the panel today. We'll start from Nadine, Volker, Jagdeep, and then Barbara, please.
Thank you, Anton. This is a tricky one. The accelerators that I've sat on, every business that comes up with carbon emissions reduction is always a very tricky business to prove that you're actually doing that. That aside, you've got to be interesting. It's a weird subject, carbon emissions, because you can't really see it. All you can really understand is the effect of it. And you need a lot of data and scientific results to show that you've actually done the thing that you said that you can do. So I would say for marketing, you need to make it interesting, because it's a little bit of a dry subject. So talking about the benefits of what you're doing is where I would encourage you to go towards. If you think of the brands, right now I can't think of the name, but they do the fruit juice where they show how many different fruits are inside, or they talk about the new interesting drink products where they have, this is another boring message at the back, and they have that kind of different type of marketing strategy, I would go with something that's very different from anything else. So talking about what are the benefits that the company will be able to show that they've done, and show that in a really interesting way, versus, you know, you could save 100% of emissions or whatever it might be. I think that's going to be very hard to sell that. So think about a different marketing strategy. Think about, you know, there is going to be some regulatory compliance and those kind of things which you're going to be tick boxing, but how can you demonstrate that in a way that's a bit more interesting and exciting? Like Anton says, you'd want to then go ahead and do it. And I think I'll leave it there. Some of the other panelists might have a bit more to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadine. Volker?
Yeah, again, to be honest, very similar to what I said earlier, right? I think getting any of these platforms off the ground and making them sticky, there needs to be information in there you want to see as a business, right? So I invested in a company that does something very similar. I mean, case studies, 100%, right? You want to showcase how the app makes businesses more successful by reducing their carbon footprint. So, you know, and anything you can showcase where you say, okay, by using the app, by, you know, connecting the app to you know, whatever, I don't know, your travel footprint or whatever, you know, helps them, you know, to reduce their carbon in the future. So whether this, you know, through, I don't know, having a bad conscience, or, you know, actively seeing how much carbon you use in the business, and by, I don't know, turning down the heating. That's how I see it, right? So I haven't seen the app. So, you know, let's say you turn your heating down by 1 degree for the business, that reduces your carbon footprint by X, that decreases your costs for heating by Y, and make it really visualized and, if I say, appealing for people to look at. So that's what I would do. But it's about which information you can display, and how you know, how nicely they're presented, and whether it's something people want to log into the app on a regular basis or not.
Hit them on the bank account. Thank you, Volker. Jagdeep?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple of things to what's been added already. I think one would be look at increasing the educational content. You are actually entering quite a saturated sector now, because there's a lot of companies doing this kind of emissions tracking, or encouraging organizations to reduce their emissions. There's even companies that offer blockchain and stable coins as a result of reducing your carbon footprint. So I would say, yeah, look at educational content. Also, how do you push companies to basically adhere to social corporate responsibility, and that's kind of where the carbon emissions come in. So those would be the few I can think of. But ultimately, yes, you need some tangible case studies as to how this actually improves the footprint and what value it brings to organizations, and actually depending on what organizations you're trying to target as well. Some simply can't afford to track their carbon emissions, some can, so it depends on what sector, demographic, vertical you're also looking at as well. But ultimately, yeah, the proof is in the pudding. So the more case studies you can have, the better it is.
Something's happening to my thingy here. Barbara, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Okay, great input from the members of the panel so far. One of the companies I recently served as a fractional sales executive for is in the carbon emission ESG space. And some of the key marketing strategies that I executed while working with them that I think that might be relevant here will be around developing impactful case studies, highlight measurable outcomes such as cost savings, increased efficiency, or enhanced brand reputation achieved by companies that implemented using your platform. Include testimonials from clients emphasizing how the platform helped them meet sustainable goals while aligning with their business priorities. And if they're not already big or making great impact, they can focus on the convenience around reputation, time saving, cost savings, and all of that to be able to penetrate and start building those relationships. Secondly, I'll say create engaging and educational content, publish articles, infographics, and videos that showcase the financial, operational, and reputational benefits of sustainability initiatives. share insights on regulatory trends and potential penalties for non-compliance to highlight the risk of inaction, use storytelling to humanize sustainability because it's quite boring. You lose a lot of people. So share narratives that connect carbon reduction efforts to tangible outcomes such as community impact, employee morale and engagement, or customer loyalty. Highlight stories of leaders who have championed sustainability, inspire action. I also say incentivize action with tools and resources. Offer free audits or carbon calculators as lead generation tools to show immediate value. Provide templates for sustainability reports to simplify the process of tracking and communicating progress. I would also say showcase compliance and future proofing. Emphasize how early adoption of carbon tracking helps companies stay ahead of emerging regulation, especially with the emergence of the one in EU for 2026 and the one in the UK for 2030. Frame sustainability efforts as preparation for inevitable shifts in market and policy demands. Altogether, by combining data-driven success stories with engaging solution-oriented content and positioning sustainability as both a moral and economic imperative, your platform can effectively motivate businesses to prioritize carbon reduction and miss competing priorities.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Right here, we've got 7 minutes to go. Let's see if we can all answer this question. Let's try and do it 1 minute each, please. I'll put it in the chat, in the group chat for us panelists, and it's from somebody in Manchester. So we're a seed stage SaaS startup in Manchester offering a CRM platform tailored to estate agents. Whilst we've gained traction in the Northeast, expanding into London and other major cities has been challenging due to the dominance of established players and different operational needs in a faster paced market. How can we tailor a market expansion strategy that includes city-specific feature enhancements, targeted partnerships with local real estate associations, or a pilot program to attract early adopters in London and elsewhere? Right, I'll give you my quick 2 pence and then pass it on to the experts. Many moons ago, I used to have a business targeting, or more than once actually, but this one was a business targeting landlords to advertise via certain agencies, but also for them to show up on Google quite high. And it was initially it went targeting only estate agents. Then we found a way to try and bring together estate agents and landlords. Anyway, long story short, the point was what really worked well was postcodes and street names. If you can incorporate that into your CRM. Now, I know your CRM is a different thing because you've got, you're not really directly helping them to advertise, but the idea is if you can incorporate that kind of localization feature that perhaps may work with SEOs or may work with social media and so on, I think that could be a good start. But I'd love to hear what the panelists got to say. So perhaps this time we can start with Volker, then Jagdeep, then Barbara, then Nadine. Let's try and keep it 1 minute each since we've got 5 minutes to go.
All right, minute is counting. So not an area I know much of, but if you have a CRM, there are millions of CRMs out there. So what makes you different, right? So you're obviously very tailored to the real estate market. But if you can't expand outside of, say, Manchester, so what are your competitors, doing differently in London that you can't offer, don't offer, or what, do a proper market analysis to find out how you need to go to market, offer free trials, and then it's going to be word of mouth. But yeah, just be persistent and try to get at least 1 or 2 estate agents over the line. But yeah, do your market research.
Thank you very much, Volker. Jagdeep.
Yeah, and I would say just adding to on what's been said also is looking at doing competitive research as well, not just market. Understand what the competitors are offering, why, and where your USP lies, And that's probably where your strategy would come in terms of expanding into a market. You're obviously trying to fulfill a need, and how do you hone into that need? In some cases, I would say doing a pilot, you might have to incentivize estate agents by actually offering them a free trial, or maybe the benefit might be that they are part of a case study, or they become early adopters or beta adopters, etc. So I would say the first thing to do is, yeah, as said earlier, look at the market, but you will need to do your competitor research and also the user research as well, and that will define how you actually go to market, what you target, the various channels that there are, which regions specifically, because London obviously is a big place in itself. So the question is, are you targeting particular types of estate agents? Are you looking at lettings, mortgages, business properties, commercial estates, land, etc.? So there's a ton of things without understanding the detail that you could go into. But I would say first thing to do is before you actually go to market, do your research and get some data and metrics around it, and that should define how you actually evolve your expansion strategy.
Thank you very much, Jagdeep. Bob?
Can everyone hear me? Because Anton just cut off.
Sorry, yes, I can. Sorry, we can, I'm guessing.
Okay, so the first thing I would say is get a specialist like me to take off or help solve that problem. But where that is not possible, I would say focus on targeted partnerships, collaborate with local associations, create pilot programs for early adopters, select key agencies, identify top performing agencies in London, and offer them exclusive access to your platform at a discounted rate. Have a targeted marketing and outreach that is a localized campaign where you can run digital campaigns focused on solving London-specific challenges, e.g. ads or content targeting high rental demand or international clientele management. Also, operational adaptation, expand support teams, add local account managers or support staff with London market expertise, which comes back to where I said hire someone like me to do it. Also, offer pricing structures that cater to the larger demand deal sizes or higher cost in urban markets. Also, track and reach rates, measure success, monitor adoption rates, feature usage and client satisfaction from the pilot program, and refine strategy using feedback from early adopters to refine your pitch, pitches, and support processes for further rollout.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Nadine?
Great, thank you. Some really good ideas here. So apart from the local specific nuances that happen in the area, and someone's already mentioned the local governing bodies that can help you increase your leverage, what really is your USP and how do you differentiate? Because if the market is full of other people that do CRM systems, what makes you different? What's made you so successful in the Northwest? So you obviously want to show that to people in the other areas and, you know, businesses in the other areas so that they can at least see your concept works. There's a lot of, you know, location specific types of property agents. You've got rent to rent, you've got HMO, maybe targeting that specific area. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that are starting up as solopreneurs that would love to have some of your help. Maybe it's a case that you're looking at a small group of estate agents that don't quite have, you know, the money and backing behind some of those really large ones that you can then partner with and grow together. So I would think take a slightly different route. You don't have to compete with the biggest ones. Why don't you go to some of the smallest ones? And if you think of the way that businesses are made up in the UK, the majority are solopreneurs and SMEs. We're actually just as large as the enterprise size businesses. So go after a different market. Don't have to go head to head with the biggest. Establish some traction, and then you can go from there. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Nadine. Huge thanks to all my panelists. Thank you to those of you that tuned in, and also to David that came up on stage. We are now 1 minute over the line, so we're going to wrap this up today. If you don't need to go, or if you want to give us any parting words, panel, would you like to give us any? Let's start with Barbara, Volker, and then Nadine, please. There's a mic icon, Barbara, at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, seen that. So for parting words, I would say it's been wonderful answering and engaging with some of you today. It's really been big and it's been wonderful. I'm always open to answer questions or support wherever I can. So you can connect, send me a message, and connect. I'm able to support however I can, and I'm always open to. So thank you very, very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Volker?
Yeah, I need to hop off as well, but if you have any more questions, just connect with me on LinkedIn and yeah, hit me up there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Volker. Last but not least, Nadine.
Thank you. Yeah, as with the other panelists, as usual, feel free to contact me and connect with me. I would say think differently. You know, in order to create traction in a world full of businesses and to get real foothold, you may have to do something that's completely out the box and different just to get noticed. And once you've done that, yeah, feel free to go back to the tried and tested, but do not be afraid to be different. Good luck, everyone, and thanks for having me, Anton.
Thank you very much, brilliant panelists. Really appreciate your time and input today. Just a quick reminder, everybody, we run 4 regular conversations per week. Monday's talent, Tuesday's product and tech, Wednesday's growth, and Thursday's fundraising. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time, and you can RSVP to any of them via our website, startuptoscaleup.club. And as far as my parting words are concerned, just remember, the startup journey can be both exciting, but also quite challenging. So try to have some fun in the meantime and be kind to yourself and everyone else for that matter too. Otherwise, hopefully see you tomorrow for Startup Fundraising Q&A. We'll have some investors on the panel. Have a great afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are, and God bless you all. Bye-bye for now.